How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for this day.
I was a former stud, yes, but I'm too old now to be handling the actual moves.
Retired stud now.
This is the plaintiff, Tamika McCune. She says she hired the defendant's moving company, and he damaged 2 pieces of her fancy, expensive bedroom set she purchased at Bob's Discount Furniture. The defendant needs to take responsibility for his inept employees. She's owed $5,000 for a new set, and since the defendant refuses to be a good businessman, she's dragging him into court here today. This is the defendant, Christopher Monks, owner of Two Young Studs Moving Company. He says this is an open and shut case because the plaintiff didn't even inform him there was any damage until days after the move. How does he know what supposedly happened to her discount inferior furniture once she had it in her possession all that time? Besides, he has a signed contract stating the plaintiff's rights, and if something does get damaged, which he isn't saying he did, the plaintiff can only recover 60 cents on the pound. He's accused of dropping it.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Tamika McCune.
Yes.
Okay, you are suing Two Young Studs Moving Company. I love this. Represented by Christopher Monks. You're one of the studs?
I was a former stud, yes, but I'm too old now to be handling the actual moves.
Retired stud now? Okay, are you one of the owners who named it?
Yes, I'm the owner of the company.
Okay, you're suing them for the statutory maximum, $5,000, because according to you, they ruined some furniture. Tell me what happened.
Yes. On June 2nd, 2014, I spoke with Mr. Monk. I called to get a quote of how much it would be to move a 3-bedroom house. He advised me that I should get 2 trucks and 4 men. I agreed upon it. I made the deposit. The move was supposed to be between 8 a.m. to 12. They was about 15 to 20 minutes late. When they showed up, it was only 3 men and 1 truck. The other gentleman was late, which he showed up.
How late was that gentleman?
That gentleman was over an hour. So they started moving, the 3 gentlemen started moving the stuff. They got everything ready within an hour. And then the 4th gentleman showed up with the other truck just in time when they started breaking down the bedroom set. I explained to them that I needed them to be extra careful with my bedroom set. That was the purpose of me getting a moving company, because I didn't want it damaged, and they promised me that it wouldn't be a problem. We left. Everything is on the truck.
And everything looked good so far?
Everything looked good so far,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
All right.
I got to the new location, which is about 10 minutes away. Waited for about a little over 30 minutes for them to get there, which only took me 10. So once they got there, I told my son to make sure he stayed with them. At that time, I went to go do some other things that I had to do. They only accepted cash, so I had to go get the money from the bank. When I got back, my son came to me to let me know that the mover damaged my dresser and my mirror. And he told me that the gentleman, there's a lip on the floor, and I guess the way that they positioned the furniture on the dolly was legs down. So it tore off the whole right side of the dresser, bottom legs.
Do you have pictures?
Yes.
Okay, may I see it?
Yes.
All right, so did they say anything to you?
They didn't until I addressed it.
Okay. What is this a picture of?
That's the side of the dresser. And those little knobs, those little pieces go into that little section.
Okay. And then these are the slats from the bed?
Yes.
And when do you address it?
I addressed it when I noticed that they were getting close to the time of finishing my move. I said, when were you going to tell me about my dresser and my mirror being damaged? At that particular time, he apologized for it and felt like glue should be able to fix it. I explained to the person that although I was being very nice and polite, that I was very angry that they damaged my set. At that particular time, I made my payment. He took $100 off for the gentleman being late. And then they laughed at me and my son proceeded.
Did you sign something that said everything was received in perfect order?
I don't remember.
Did she sign something saying everything was received in perfect order?
No, she did not sign anything at the end of the move.
Because she complained from the beginning that you guys broke her bedroom set, right?
She did not complain to me personally. She may have
I'm not
complained
asking
to
about
the
you
movers.
personally. You have agents who are there. She can't complain to you personally because you're not in her apartment. Did she complain to them immediately, guys, you broke my furniture? Or, as you state in the complaint, is this something that turned up much later?
This is something that turned up later. I was not aware of any damage.
Did you ever ask the movers, hey, what happened?
Yes, of course.
And did any of them say, yeah, we broke it?
No, none of them
Did
said
any of them
anything.
say, she told me we broke it? She claims we broke it on the spot.
No, there was no mention of that.
Then why don't you have the form that every mover gets their customers to sign saying everything is copacetic?
We don't typically ask the customer to sign the form because the form that is signed at the beginning of the move
The form that is signed
addresses
at the
everything.
beginning has to do with what happens for liability. We will discuss that in a minute and what the limits on liability are. You're not my first rodeo. Are you telling me that you've been in business for a decade and that on none of your moves do you ever have a homeowner sign at the end of the move to say everything was okay? Is that what you're telling me? Do you have such a form?
There's nothing signed at the end of the move.
Ever in any of your moves?
Correct.
Well, then you're an idiot because you're the first mover I've ever met who doesn't have that form. First, ever. Or you do have that form and she didn't sign it because she complained from the beginning that your guys broke it. Okay, so you bought the stuff at Bob's Discount Furniture.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago did you buy it?
At that particular time, it was, I think, either 3 to 4 years prior.
And how much did you pay for it?
It was close to $4,000.
So you have the discussions with Bob to figure out how much it weighs, and why are you having those discussions with Bob?
Because Chris told me that they only pay by the weight, and I needed to.
And why did Chris tell you that they only pay by the weight?
Because I called him the day of.
Right, but
after
did you
the
see the
move.
form that you signed before the move that says, unless I state otherwise and purchase additional insurance, I am limited to 60 cents a pound? Did you see what you signed?
Yes, I see it.
So according to Bob's, the dresser and the mirror is 250 pounds?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How do you come up with the prices? That you
I
come up-
went online to look for the dresser and the mirror to replace it.
I thought it was so these are the prices for you to replace it with something else that you like?
No, it's the same one. Bob's discontinued from them selling it. But I went online and I found, they gave me the name of the company.
Oh, I see. Somebody else sells it.
Yes.
May I see what you got online?
Yes.
So let me hear from you. What is your defense?
So at the beginning of each move, the movers do introduce themselves. They ask the customers to sign a contract in 4 different places. First, giving us permission to move their items. Second, acknowledging that we're under no obligation to move certain items. And then the third talks about the insurance, where they needed to elect to purchase additional insurance 2 days prior to the move, or the standard valuation for moving items would be 60 cents per pound. One important thing on this contract does specifically say that particle board of any kind is not covered at all. It's not eligible for the 60 cents a pound
Let me
reimbursement.
see where the contract says that. Is it the one that has the 60 cents on it?
Yes.
Okay.
And to me, those items that we see in pictures are definitely made of particle board, which is a very flimsy material.
Are these your initials next to and your signature on the bottom?
No. Nope.
Wait, you said that you signed a paper. You said that earlier.
No, I said I wasn't sure at the end if I signed anything.
Okay, but are you saying they forged that?
That's not my signature. I've never signed like that.
Hand me all of your ID right
Yep.
now.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. I have a question. Who hired a mover? Who's ever hired a mover? Hired a mover?
Yeah.
You ever read the moving contract before you signed it?
Oh, never.
You never read it?
No.
You think that's important?
I think that is a little important.
But why didn't you?
Well, because it's like really long.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, yes. I definitely read the contract.
You read the whole thing?
Definitely.
You sat down and read 3 pages of contract?
Yes, for sure.
And did it help you?
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
Good. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
Wow, it sure looks like your signature, ma'am. I gotta say, it is uncanny that the driver would know how you sign your signature.
The only thing that looks like mine, Your Honor, is the T. Again, I do not.
No.
There's
the T is super distinctive.
The only thing after
and
that,
then the M is kind of distinctive, and then from the L to the E, there's like a super. I'm talking.
I don't have
I'm talking. I'm
sorry.
What is your last name?
McCune. M-C-K.
Okay, so it's so distinctive it looks like an L in your license and on this form. Wow.
May I speak?
Yeah, you can speak.
Okay, Your Honor. Again, as far as I can recall, I don't recall signing anything. One, I never met Chris at all. I did everything via computer.
Yeah, I know, but when they show up, they don't have you sign
They
something?
didn't have me sign anything, as
You're not
I
just
recall.
saying that because now he's saying they didn't have you sign anything at the end,
No,
right?
no, ma'am, and I'm not saying that. And I've always initialed.
Did you make an offer to her?
Yes, I did make an offer. We exchanged a number of emails back and forth. I offered her $123, which the customer was not happy with, but I based that on an assumption that the damaged items weighed 200 pounds. The customer asked to go back to reweigh the items. I said, sure, absolutely no problem, let me know. But to no avail, I was unable to reach.
Why?
Because the customer had different expectations that she wanted full replacement costs for all of the value.
As opposed to the weight.
Opposed to the weight.
And now you're suing for two things: a cost to replace it, which is not what you're entitled to in court. What you would be entitled to in court is the depreciated value of the item at the time that side does something bad to you. Unless you have agreed beforehand to limit your damages. You must have acknowledged to him that you in fact limited the liability to this, because I see emails back and forth where you're talking about how much it weighs. And then you realize, oh my gosh, this is gonna give me nothing, because it's just gonna give you a couple $100. You're also suing for reimbursement for unfinished move. What's that?
It took them literally 1 hour to load that whole 3-bedroom, living room, dining room, kitchen, 2.5 bath. And that left us with 3 hours left, along with travel, to get everything inside of the apartment. They should have gotten all the things in my apartment within 3 hours.
Okay, but were you there?
Yes, ma'am, I
So
was
what
there.
was the problem?
They were outside talking. My son came up and he was very upset because he felt like they was just dragging them outside.
Was there an elevator involved?
Yes, there's a service
so it obviously
elevator.
takes longer to move into an apartment with an elevator involved than it does to move out of a big house, right? Okay. And then $2,500 for emotional distress. How do you turn a case into double its size just by adding emotional? Well, I know how. I see it every day, but go ahead.
To be honest, Your Honor, I just really wanted to stick it to Chris because he has set the standard. He has 6 open cases with the Better Business Bureau. So to me, I could have gotten my son and his football team to move my furniture. His words to me afterwards, you spent all that money, Mom, and you could have got me and the boys to move it just for dinner. You're right, but I did not want my furniture damaged.
Yeah.
It may not be everything to someone else, but I work hard for that, Your Honor.
Listen, you do not have to convince me of that. If you're moving somebody's stuff, you have to exercise the right amount of care. Now, I don't know that I agree with Bob's that, oh, you have to throw everything away. I mean, that's kind of goofy. I certainly wouldn't throw any of that away. I would make some attempts at repairing it. And you have a problem that we've discussed, and that is that you are limited to the 60 cents. His defense is, I don't have to pay anything because it's particle board, but he hasn't been able to prove that, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. It's not. They've damaged a whole lot of stuff there. But I am limited to, even if I'm guessing at the weight of your bed, I am still limited to the 60 cents that you agreed to. So I'm finding in your favor, not in the amount that you're asking, but in the amount of $240, and hopefully you're able to, with that and perhaps a little more, repair it to your satisfaction to where it's safe, because I think that it probably could be repaired. Okay? Good luck to you.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails to the tune of $240. It's a lot less than the $5,000 she was seeking. Mr. Marks, the self-described retired stud, has just come out. That was kind of cute. Listen, the judge actually called you an idiot because you don't have people sign papers after the move. Is that really true? You sure of that?
She has a good point, and I'm definitely going to start implementing that. I thought my contract that I had at the beginning of the move addressed all of the issues that customers would come across, but I will definitely add an addendum to address that for future moves.
And you've just become aware of this now, and you've been in the movie business for so many years? That's pretty amazing.
Well, the customer does sign off on 4 different places, addressing everything that could possibly arise that would be not
in the front of the move, not at the end?
Yes, correct. Before they move,
That's your problem. Thank you very much. Sorry. That's the way the judge decided. Now here comes the plaintiff. Well, you wanted $5,000, you got $240. How do you feel?
As long as everyone gets to see who Chris Monk is and that his company is invertible, I'm satisfied with that.
You are?
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so much. And that's it. Harvey, what do you think?
Okay, Doug, it is not only very important to read the contract to know exactly how much they're going to pay you for damage to the property, but you should know, you should get insurance, moving insurance, because most of these moving companies limit their liability, and especially if you have expensive stuff, pay for the insurance. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
These are the plaintiffs, Desiree Garcia and Alexis Paniagua. Desiree says she gave the defendant some money to hold on to for safekeeping while her bedroom was being painted. And guess what? The defendant told her the money was stolen out of her house by a robber. This is the fishiest story she's ever heard because nothing else in the house was stolen. Her friend's a liar and a cheat, and they're here suing for the return of their $2,000. This is the defendant, Jennifer Bosch. She says the plaintiffs think she stole the money, but that's not true. She filed a police report. She requested any video surveillance the building had, and she thinks she's being framed. Alexis has a robbery under his belt. Desiree knew where she hid the money, and she thinks she's being set up to take the fall for something she didn't do. She's accused of a cash grab.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs gave the defendant money to keep at her place while the plaintiff's place was being painted, and the defendant says somebody stole the money. The plaintiffs think the defendant actually is the thief, but the defendant says the plaintiff stole it back herself. It's the case of crazy crookery.
Thank you, Douglas. Desiree Garcia and Alexis Paniagua, you are suing Jennifer Bosch, your, I guess, former friend, for $2,000 of yours that you say you gave her to hold, Ms. Garcia, and that was stolen from her apartment. Tell me what happened here.
Ms. Bosch is a friend. I thought was a friend of mine that I could trust. Me and my boyfriend was holding some money put away for the girls, for my daughters. I have 3 daughters for summer vacation. So he told me to put it away because I'm more, I got better. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
You're more financially responsible?
More financially stable with money. So he told me to put it away.
Wait, and you're the one who's more financially stable?
Yeah.
You gave it to a neighbor to hold. What? You don't have a bank account?
No, I don't have a bank account. I put money away in my house. I have it holding for my. I don't trust the banks. I trust
you
me.
don't trust the banks? That's why? What is this, the 1930s? Or is it that there's some judgments against you and you don't want them to take it if it's in a bank account?
It's personal reasons.
Judge wasn't born yesterday.
Personal
so
reasons.
you cannot put the money in the bank. He cannot have access to it because he's worried he's going to spend it.
Yes.
So why don't you just hide the money in your own place?
I did, but when I was hiding in my daughter's room because I know he wasn't going to go into the girls' room. So when I was about to paint the girls' room, I asked her, thinking she's my friend, and she lives right upstairs, if she could just hold the money for a week, that I was going to come back and come pick up my money.
Why can't you just hide it in a different place for that week?
I should have. I thought I could trust her.
Did he know that you were putting the money in her place?
No.
All right, so
and
what
that's
did you
why
do?
I didn't want him to know when
well, it's not a matter of trusting her. It's a matter of trusting everybody who she invites to her house, too. I mean, it's just crazy.
She said she don't have nobody. As far as I know, she said she didn't have anybody come to her house.
How do you know whether somebody else is going to be... You would have to be there all the time to know who has access.
She lives right above. She lives on the same building.
So what? What do you know about her? You don't know who comes in, who comes out, whether she needs them. I mean, it was like crazy for you to do. So you give her $2,000 and you say, hold it for a week.
Yes. And when I went to, she knew I was about to come get it. She calls me and said that she had got robbed. And the only thing that came out missing out of her house was my money.
And nothing else?
Nothing else.
Not her TVs,
not her TVs,
jewelry,
not her
anything of hers,
nothing of her son's.
Where was your $2,000 supposedly being held?
She said she put it in a drawer with the key.
You have a dresser drawer with a key?
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
Well, she came up to me as a friend. She asked me if I could hold down some money for her, which was $2,700, not $2,000.
Was it $2,700?
It was $2,700, but I was suing for $2,000 because I got the $700 back.
Okay, so $2,700.
$2,700. So I told her fine. I told her exactly where it was gonna be at. It was gonna be in the drawer, locked. Probably like a week after, came home from work with my kids, my window's wide open. I called her house numerous times.
Was the door broken into?
No, they came through my window. My window was wide open.
Right, but what about the drawer?
The drawer was back to how it was originally.
Wait, how did anybody get in if you had it locked?
Exactly. I had the key in the separate drawer. And
right next to the drawer that's locked?
Exactly.
Why would you keep the key right next to the thing it opens? That kind of defeats the purpose of having it locked, doesn't it? Exactly.
Well,
yeah, not exactly.
I'm talking about the key in the drawer.
I know. Why would you keep the key right next to the thing it's locking? Why wouldn't you put it somewhere else?
I wouldn't think that, anything.
Really? You wouldn't think? Because I would keep the key on me. That way nobody can get in there and it's safe.
You are right about that. You are.
And who knew that the key was there?
I had told her.
Why would you tell her?
Because it was her money.
I locked the drawer and the key is in the drawer right next to what I locked.
The key was at.
She never told you where the key was.
She said she was going to give me the key and never gave me the key.
Why would she give you the key?
Because that's what she said, so I could feel more trust.
Why would you need to be trusted? What was she getting out of all this?
My $2,000.
Well, I know now, but that's what you think happened is that yes. She kept your $2,000. Yes. But were you going to pay her for her services of holding it for a week?
No.
Right. So someone goes into your house, you left the window open, and someone takes the money, and that someone knows where the key is, opens it up, takes $2,000 of the $2,700, and then that's it.
And put everything back how it was. Nothing was ransacked, nothing was messed up or anything like that.
Okay. And so she thinks you're a thief.
She could think that, but...
And you think she's a thief?
Yes.
Alexis Paniagua, do you have a robbery conviction?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
From 2007. I'm maxed out, did my time for it already. That's irrelevant.
Well, in the beginning of her story, she wanted me to hold down money. The reason why she wanted me to hold down money, because she said that she didn't want her man to find it. She didn't want her man to know that that she had the money.
Okay. Did you know that there was $2,000?
Yes, I did. Half of the money was mine.
And it was $27.
So there was no mystery $2,000?
No.
Did you know that she was giving it to the neighbor?
I didn't know that.
What had you asked her to do?
I told her to hold it because I don't trust myself with the money.
Did you call the police when the theft happened?
Well, actually, I didn't call the police right there and then. I had called her and I called management.
Yeah, but why didn't you call the police?
Because at the time I wanted to see the videotapes.
Yeah, but why didn't you just call the police?
You're right. That's the mistake that I did.
She didn't call the police. And I told her on numerous occasions to call the cops. And she
Why
never
didn't you
called
call the cops?
When I went to the precinct said that I couldn't do anything because it happened in
wasn't
their
your
house.
home. So
Yes.
you did try to go to the police.
Yes, I did.
All right. So now you eventually called the police.
Yes, I did.
After she starts to harass you, I guess.
No, the harassment started to happen when I told her that I was not going to cough up any money without the decision of the detectives.
Well, what you've actually said is without seeing the video.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so has anybody ever seen the video?
No, nobody's seen the video.
I don't think the video exists. I mean, how hard is it to look at video? What is management saying? We have video?
Management said that they have the video and the detectives could come and see it, which I believe my detective called me 2 days ago, and he said that he's going to get in touch with the management office. I haven't received a call back. He told me to give him a phone call today.
Are you kidding me? Court's in recess. Go call the detective. In fact, we're going to call the detective. Okay. I want to know what the video shows. Okay. What am I going to see on the video?
I have no idea.
We have no clue.
I have no idea.
Court is in recess.
All rise. So, if the defendant's story is right, is the defendant still responsible if the key was on the dresser?
Yes.
Why?
Because she should have kept the key somewhere else.
What do you say? Is the defendant responsible if the key was on the dresser?
I don't know. It sounds fishy to me.
You think the defendant stole the money?
Yes, absolutely.
It does sound a little, but even if you believe the plaintiff's story, do you think, you know what, forget that. Here's my question. You have to vote. No, okay, I'm going to be really bad. There are two really cute things here, the dog and the baby, okay? Do we want to have a vote? No, going inside the courtroom.
So we were able to make contact with the detective, and there is no video. Had he told you that?
No, he didn't tell me that.
Okay, so there is no video. So now, barring there being a video, do you have any evidence that they stole the money from there?
No, I actually don't.
All right, so then here's how it breaks down, okay? I don't know whether you took the money or not, or whether somebody legitimately robbed you. I find it crazy that it was that drawer, that key, right there, window open, whatever else. But at the end of the day, they're the plaintiffs and they have the burden of proving that they gave you the money and haven't received it back. But you're the defendant, and the defendant has a burden of proving her defense. And your defense is, you know, they took it. That could only be your defense. Because if somebody else took it, then you were irresponsible by leaving a window open and leaving a key next to a locked door and whatever else. And then you're responsible to them because you were irresponsible. So unless you can prove to me that they have set you up and that they're the ones who took it, which you cannot.
No, I was at work at the time, so.
Right. So, so we're back left to the theory that you were responsible for it. You made yourself responsible for it. I don't know why. I don't know why you would do that.
I felt like I had some responsibility.
Yeah, but you shouldn't. But like, why would you take? Just say no. No, I'm sorry. Hide the money in your own shoe.
Yeah, I should have just said no.
Okay.
And I feel like I had some responsibility.
You have all the responsibility.
But then again, you know, somebody did came through my window.
I understand, but that's the risk you take when you accept the money and say, I will take good care of it and leave a window open and a key next to a locked door. So my verdict in this case is for the plaintiffs in the amount of the $2,000.
So the plaintiffs prevail. They do get the $2,000. Ms. Bosch has just come out of the courtroom. You know, you got hurt by being a nice person, really.
Yeah, pretty much. They took my kindness off a weakness.
Yeah, it really hurt. Did you leave the window open?
I left the slate cracked.
So you did leave it open.
But
okay.
when I got home, it was wide open.
It was your fault then from there, leaving it open. Sorry about that. That's the way it works out in court, okay?
That's all right.
You're on the hook for it.
Okay.
Don't be so nice in the next time.
No, I'm not going to be nice anymore.
Okay. Officer McIntosh has some documents you must sign. Now, Ms. Garcia's on the way out of the courtroom. Let me ask you again. Have you learned anything from this whole experience?
You don't have any friends. You can't trust anybody.
No, that's not it.
Yes.
No.
Don't trust.
Don't trust.
Be wary of who you trust.
Hide the money at a different place.
Don't
give it to somebody else. That's a better lesson. Okay?
Yes.
You're lucky you won this case, I think.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You know? Okay?
I'm happy with everything that happened today.
Yes.
I'm sure you are. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You must sign some documents. How about that, Harvey?
Doug, here's the thing. Even if you're just doing somebody a favor, if property gets lost because of your negligence, you're going to be on the hook. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. Dip approved by ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, Sprite, McFlurry, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This is the plaintiff, Lisa Serluca. She says the defendants were tenants in a house her mother rented, and they were nightmares to deal with. They damaged the house, didn't pay the last month's rent or water bill, and she definitely needs the judge's help to recover the $5,000 they owe and refuse to pay. These are the defendants, Lena Caballero and Luis Romero. Lena says the plaintiff was the nightmare to deal with, and she has a reputation of taking people's security deposits and not returning them when they move out. So they used their security to pay the last month's rent and do not owe this woman a penny. They're accused of wrecking the joint.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff was the defendant's landlord. It says they were just awful people. The defendant says the plaintiff has a reputation for security fraud. It's the case of a pox on your house.
Thank you, Douglas. Gilda Serluca. You're suing Lena, you're her daughter, Lisa,
yes.
Correct? And you have power of attorney to represent her?
Yes.
All right, you're suing Lena Caballero and Luis Romero, your former tenants who vacated and, according to you, owe you $5,000 in damages and rent. What happened?
They were supposed to move out.
How long did they live there?
From 2011. So they tried to move out 3 times last year in 2015, and then they couldn't get their mortgage. So they kept saying, we're going to stay, we're going to stay, we're going to stay. So we then gave them a new lease in June. We raised their rent, $250. They paid that through October. And then in November, let us know again, they were moving out.
Okay.
They used their security for November and December's rent.
They didn't pay November and December's rent?
No, they did not.
Did you object to that?
I did. They only gave me, they gave me $250 for the difference in the rent.
Okay.
Other than that, they gave us no money.
Okay.
In December, I said to her, are you moving out? She said, no, not yet, in January. So I said to her, you need to give us November's rent. You shouldn't be using the security as it is. No, I'm not paying you. I'll pay you when I leave.
Why didn't you pay the rent?
Because we were purchasing the home, we didn't have money. We were using the money towards the,
I know, but you're supposed to pay rent.
Yes, but we were using the deposit as we told her that we didn't have money to pay her and pay over there.
Well, you did have money. You just wanted to put it elsewhere, and you're not allowed to use a deposit. That's not what the deposit's for. The deposit's for damages, because if you use the deposit for rent, then she has nothing to pay for her damages, and then she has to go to court and sue you, which is exactly what happened, because according to her, you left the place a wreck. All right, and then what happens in January?
In January, the last text message I sent her was in December, and I said to her, she said, stop bothering me. I'm not paying you. I'll pay you for the days I live there when I leave.
How are you going to rent the place?
I don't know.
Okay, so what happens? They leave when?
They, on November 9th, I have a process server process them that we're trying to evict them. My processor server goes there. They cut out a security system that they put throughout the home. So inside the home, every room had a camera, including the bathrooms. And outside the home, there was a camera on the door. So there were people there cutting out the cameras, which she told me she would fix. First of all, we never told her she could do what she did.
What did she do? She had cameras everywhere, but where were the wires? Inside the walls or outside the walls?
Outside the walls.
Okay, so it's all wired up everywhere. None of that was with permission.
None of that was with permission.
She tells you, don't worry, I'll fix all that.
I'll fix that. And then she also made a room into a walk-in closet, and she said, I will fix that also.
Okay.
And I said, that's why the security is there. She goes, that's why I'm not letting you keep the security, because you won't give me my money back. Okay. I said, we need to fix the damage. I can't rent a home like that.
Right.
So her thing was, well, when I leave, I'll give it to you. And then she owed us for a water bill.
Okay.
Which was another $495.
Okay, you acknowledge a water bill, right?
Yeah. They didn't send it to us, but yeah.
Right, okay.
I always sent it to her. She paid it months later. She paid it whenever she wanted.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Not that water bill.
This one was not paid.
Water.
Yeah, that one wasn't paid.
But you acknowledge you owe it, right?
I mean, we didn't get the bill.
Did you send
that
bill?
I mean, the last one.
Okay. All right, go on.
And then we also, my attorney sent her a copy of it too.
And she never paid it?
No.
Okay, go on.
So process server, lawyer fees, and then the damage that she did, we had to repair.
Okay, what are the damages?
So basically removing the camera system, fixing all the holes, removing the sheetrock that she put up to close a room. She put up an accordion door. We had to pull all that down, fix the sheetrock, sand it, paint it. They left a 500-pound safe.
A 500-pound safe?
Yes, I have pictures of all that.
Let me see the pictures of the safe. What do you guys do for a living?
We're jewelers.
Oh, okay.
But
good.
no, it's not a 500. But it's
Starts to
not
look like something else. All right,
No,
jewelers and drug dealers have this kind of setup. So go ahead.
We don't have a 500-pound safe because he bring it upstairs himself.
There's no way.
So
I'm not Superman.
There's
You're
no
not
way.
Superman?
No. I mean.
So why didn't they take it?
Okay, hold on. Okay. How is this a 500-pound safe, though? Because I'm seeing the size of it. If these are 12-inch tiles, are these 12-inch tiles?
It's
1,
about
2,
this
3.
big.
So it's 2.5. Yeah, it's like this
Yes.
big. Yeah,
It's
it's heavy. I'm
It's
sure it's
heavy.
heavy.
Home Depot, yeah,
But it's
like
not 500
Staples.
pounds.
No.
How did this get
Exactly.
removed?
The person that fixed all the damage removed it. But there were
The person.
2 people, obviously.
Okay.
I mean,
all right, but that's not a 500-pound safe. I'm imagining one of these enormous safes that you have to, like, you know, and show me the pictures of the rest of the damage. Ms. Caballero, Mr. Romero. First of all, when did you leave?
January 9th.
January 10th.
Okay, and your rent is how much?
$37.50.
Okay. And if you left January 9th, why would you not owe January rent?
Well, we were willing to pay the 9 days that we lived there, not the whole month. But then she sent
You understand that if you stay there 1 day of the month, the landlord has the right to demand the whole month, because you can't just tell her, okay, we left today. Then she's out rent for January. How's she going to rent it that way?
So who screws over who more, landlords or tenants?
I think tenants have a potential to screw over a landlord because a lot of times there's multiple people inside a rental property. So I would say,
well, that's a scenario. What do you say?
I would say that landlords really, you hear all this things about landlords being so terrible, but the tenants really do.
Oh, you say tenants too?
Landlords.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sometimes they don't give you the deposit back or just because.
Oh, you've had a problem, haven't you? I can tell, going inside the courtroom.
She can't rent it if you leave January 9th.
Yeah, but it doesn't say anywhere that we had to pay the whole month.
Oh, it does. It says it in
Where?
the law. Yeah.
Okay, but not in the lease that we signed.
Okay. And the lease that you signed had expired when?
We went month by month.
Right. So you have a month-to-month lease, which means you have to give 30 days notice, which you were giving like all the time. Well, I don't know when closing is. I don't know, you know, it just kind of kept extended. And then when did you finally learn that they were leaving January 9th?
She didn't leave January 9th. She left January 10th. She sent me a text message. She said,
saying
we
we're
moved out.
gone.
Yeah, we moved out. Keys are in the mailbox.
Keys are in the mailbox. We finally
Gone.
left. I
Yeah.
mean, how is she going to rent out for January? She can't. So, no, that's not how it works. You owe January. Let's start with that. You owe the water bill, which you've admitted to. Now let's discuss the damages, though. What happened with the whole wiring system and stuff?
We have kids, so we don't have cameras in all bathrooms. We just have a camera in their kids' bathroom. We took the cameras. Yes, we left the holes there.
Well, you also left the wiring there and everything. You just cut it and took the good stuff. And why didn't you fix it?
Because when we moved in, we bought the house, and we had just 2 days to move it up. Just we leave the cables over there.
I know. She has to pay somebody to pull it out and patch the holes and all that.
Yeah, but it's very small.
If it's so easy, then I guess you should have done it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, because you can't leave it for somebody else to handle and then say, oh, it's so cheap and easy, because you didn't do it. You could have done it, right? Why'd you leave the safe behind, whether it's 500 pounds or 100 pounds or 80 pounds? Why did you leave the safe behind?
Was my mistake, Your Honor, because I was packing up everything, and she was staying with the kids and all furniture, the moving, the cars, everything. We got to get out.
I know. People move every day. I mean, like, how many kids do you have? 20? Like, what's the big deal?
Two.
Like, how do you leave a safe? I understand how you left a sandwich in the fridge because you were in a hurry, but how do you leave a safe by accident? You looked at it and said, and just left. I mean, you know, for it to be somebody else's problem. I don't know why. Did the safe not work?
Yeah, no, we lose the key.
Oh, you lost the key. So now we know why they left the safe. Because you don't need it.
No, yes.
Yeah, we left the wires because it would inconvenience you to pull them out. We didn't pay January because we want to put the money elsewhere. We didn't pay November, December because we wanted to put the money towards our new house. Okay, what do you expect is going to happen here, guys? What's your defense? She says you have put her in a situation where she's out the rent, where she's out the water bill, where she's out the damages, where she had to hire an attorney to get you out because you weren't paying rent because you were using the security deposit as rent. So you have literally put her in the position where she's out all this money. What's your defense?
Well, we didn't have money to pay to begin with. We told her.
You bought a house, honey.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, yes,
okay,
but
so you have money, you just don't want it to go that way.
No, we just didn't have enough money to do both things.
Oh, and you wanted to do what was good for you.
Well, I think we all do that.
We all do that, but not all of us end up nailing another guy to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Right.
We didn't
not all of us have so much self-interest that we can't even pull out the wires and patch a few holes before we leave, or pull down the wall that we put up.
Because it was a two-family houses, and they couldn't rent it like that. So the second floor, where we made the walk-in closet, it was a kitchen. So where the kitchen was, I had my shoes there. Like, we accommodate everything, to make it work. And it was,
you got to unmake it a walk-in closet when you leave. You have to leave the place the way you
because
put it.
we asked her. We asked the mom.
And your position on this is that they were told yes, but you must restore it to the way that it was before.
And there's a text message. It's a text message that says she will fix it. She will fix that and the hole she made in the security. I have a text message from her saying she's going to fix it.
If you texted that you were going to fix the wall and the holes, you texted that?
Yes.
To get her off your back? Okay. $5,000 verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff prevails. The defendants are on their way out of the courtroom. If you'll step over here, sir, do you understand you basically had no defense? There's no way you could prevail.
Yeah, I do.
You do? Mm-hmm. Did you realize what you were doing at the time, that it was going to be like this?
No. No, but
well, you learn the hard way. I mean, you sound like people who just didn't want to pay the rent, and that's it. Didn't want to repair things.
Well, we didn't see it like that, but yeah, that's the way it happened.
That's the way it was. The judge certainly saw it that way. You must sign some documents with our officers out there. And if you'll come out here now, Ms. Saluka, how are you?
I'm great.
Feeling better?
Much better.
Do you encounter this kind of, I know you're doing this on behalf
They're
of
such
your mom.
liars. They're landlords themselves. They own rental properties. They know. She worked the system. She's
Really?
a liar. She knows.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It was a good day for you here.
Thank you.
All righty. Harvey?
We always talk about this, that a tenant has to give 30 days notice, this and that. It can all be changed by the contract. So even though you look at a contract and it says the tenant has to give 30 days notice, all of that stuff is negotiable.